world has definitely changed here in the last 2 years. When I first started at Washington, the board wanted to ask me, well, how are we going to evaluate you? And so I said, well, number one, watch enrollment grow. If I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, enrollment's going to grow. 2, budget will get balanced. 3, contracts will get signed. That's it. Washington had flat enrollment growth for 10 years, so brought some techniques to pump up enrollment. Enrollment started to grow. Guess what? I don't care about enrollment anymore. I think as Tim Nelson has reminded us on many occasions, enrollment growth as a basic strategy is a loser at this point. Yes, you can fill those classrooms and you can get that marginal student input to enhance your budget, and the tuition works that way, but we're all growing faster than we can keep up with it. We're all really swamped, and it's resources, it's financial resources that's really the big issue. Now, we could go to the state like we used to and argue and say, well, and spend all of our hours saying, well, how are we going to beat the state into submission to give us money and more money? Well, that's a loser, I think we all agree. There is no possibility in the foreseeable future that the state is going to come up with more money, at least enough more money to make any significant difference in any of our lives. So, what's left? Well, the only thing that's really left of us are 2 options. Cutting costs, but of course all of our enrollments are going up. There is more demand for our services. So the only other option is millage. These millage votes are critical. These are life and death for us today. The idea has been, you get to a millage renewal, it's time to run a little campaign and tell the public that we're good people. Well, I think what we're talking about today is a much more multi-pronged approach and a sustained campaign over years and years, because these millage votes are critical. I believe that every one of you, whether you passed a millage or haven't, can pass one if you follow some more technically oriented strategies for passing a millage. There is no one here that can pass a millage regardless of the community you're in. It's going to take, though, a very different approach than we've had in the past. When you start to think about what we're doing and how we organize ourselves and what we put into these things, I don't see Tim here, but I think he's got a millage coming up in August for I think it's about $37 million for 10 years renewal. $370 million. What if that doesn't pass? These things are huge. These things are phenomenal, but we really haven't thought very strategically about how do we organize ourselves, not as a group, but individually within our own community, to make sure that this thing is going to pass. So what we want to do this morning is talk about a more scientific approach to basically structuring your thinking about how you prepare for renewals and putting out for a new or an increased millage. I think we're all going to be forced in the very near future to go back to our local communities for more money. It's the only place that we have any possibility of generating resources. So the job of the president is no longer growing enrollment. The The job of the president in this new economy is really going to be about resource development. We are truly community colleges, that each of us are different, each of us serves our own community in very unique ways. And that is our strength. That is our ability to work with our own communities to generate the kind of support we need to be successful in the future. Change in funding. State funding from 2001 to 2002 to 7-8, down 1.7%. Our budgets, up. Total budgets for all community colleges, up 35%. State funding's down almost 2%. Cost of providing services, up 35%. Villages still 40% of our income. State aid was 30%. Today, it's 20%. Tuition was 26%. Today, it's almost 40%. Where are we going to be in another year? I think we're all facing those kinds of discussions with our boards. I sat down with ours at our retreat in March, and I said, we've got to have $10 every year for the next 10 years. I don't see any way to balance a budget. I was able to squeeze 7 out of them, but it took lots and lots of wrangling. But we cannot continue to provide the kinds of services we have in the past if we keep putting the cost of this on the backs of our students. We are, in fact, threatening access. It's that middle group. It's that family, the parents who are the working poor, who have a couple of kids and aren't eligible. They've got a home, they've got mortgages, they've got car payments, but they need more education to advance. Those are the people that are going to be hurt. Those are people who are going to be saying, I can't afford to do it anymore. What we see here was in the Detroit newspaper recently. Tuition there in Macomb, 68 to 80. But tax revenues going down. Oakland, tax revenues going down. Costs going up. Wayne County, revenues going down. We're facing in Washtenaw a loss. Now, we have been living the very dumb, fat lifestyle for a long time. Every year, I had to do absolutely nothing to generate $2 million more in my budget. The SEV, the value of the property in Washtenaw County, just kept going up and up and up, and we didn't even have to think or worry about it. This year, it's going the other way. We are losing $3.5 million from our, we're not getting an extra 2, we're losing 3.5. So we got a $5.5 million swing in our budget. So, the same story, I'm sure, all around the table. Demand is going up. We just keep increasing our enrollment. I don't know about you, but students are coming in and registering earlier and earlier and fighting for those slots, because I would certainly never announce that we're going to restrict enrollment or close the open door. That would be heresy. But when the seats are full, it's over. That's it. fill the classrooms. We're not adding any more. We're not hiring any more faculty. We can't afford it. So, our other option, of course, and we don't want to beat this dead horse, but
I think you do.
I personally do. We're going to have to cut expenses. We're going to have to do something. But here's Washtenaw, just to, you know, he was worrying about my data. Well, here's my data. Back in '01, we were at $3 million to MEPSers. This year, my bill is $9.8 million. We get a little over $11 million from the state. Now, he was also telling us how they bounced back so quickly from the '01 market collapse. And what you see is, oh yeah, I see how they really bounced back. My bill kept going up and up and up because of unfunded liability in the good times. This is when the market's expanding. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Here's my state allocation 11. So very, very soon, those lines are going to cross. The state aid and here's what's happening to local property tax. So, what we want to talk about is starting to think strategically about how we basically break up our community into various marketing segments so that we can address those segmental needs to make sure that we can pass both renewals and new millages to keep these institutions alive. We just passed one in November in the general election, $10 million a year for 10 years. $100 million. What I say to my board now is, no, it isn't about increasing enrollment. It's about passing millages, generating resources, making sure that we stay alive. And that's the message that I give to everybody in the institution. We are, I've got people saying, well, you know, this group wants to use the Morris Lawrence building for an event. Great. Get as many people on campus as possible. We want to make sure that people feel that there are resources available.